thank you for the coverage that you give our student athletes, because there's a lot of times you guys you're the story, right? You're the ones that tell the story about our program, about our kids, and there's so many. You get 120 different moving parts in our program with our team, and there's a lot of great things other than those 3.5 hours on a Saturday that you get to tell the story for our public to see, and our fans and all the donors. So thank you so much for that. And I think look at where we're at progress-wise with our team defensively. I think, number one, the practice structure that Coach Pittman has laid out in front of us, it has allowed us really to look and move guys and cross-train them, whether it's, especially in the back end. Can you play corner? Can it be field? Can it be boundary? Can we move you to safety and get some reps there? I think that's so important for us on at least how we play defensively, that they can play a number of spots. And we've got to be, Dominic Bowman, a hire that we made that's coaching our defensive backs, and then Deke Adams up front with the defensive line. Those guys and Mike Shear with our linebackers returning, they've been great teachers. And that's the most important part. It doesn't really matter what we know, whether we're out there in a 3 down or 4 down or 8 down, it doesn't matter. As what we know as coaches, as long as we can get it taught to our kids, then we're going to have a chance. And we talk about our team bottom line all the time defensively, is knowing your assignments, playing tough and physical, play with energy and enthusiasm, and then being a 6-second competitor. And when you can do those things and you can teach them really what the schematics are supposed to look like, you allow them to train in those spots and then go play fast. We've recruited well enough that we've got really good team speed on defense, and now it's just understanding schematically what can we do, how much can we do. We're trying to throw a lot at them right now. So credit to our kids on being willing learners. They want to be coached, and I'm excited about the progress now that we've made, I guess, through 9 practices, and look forward to getting into next week and making another run. It'll be another step next week on trying to fix some things, make corrections, and then continue to pour in what we're doing with our install.
Yeah, Coach, kind of to your point, I wanted to ask you about a couple of specific examples. Malik Chavis is a guy that came as a corner, played safety last year, and now you've moved him to corner. And Kari Johnson is a guy that played corner, and now you've moved him to safety. And then Jaden Johnson is a guy that played nickel, and now you've moved him to safety. And Miles Slusher was a safety, and now you've moved him to nickel. What goes into that dynamic? Is that like just trying to get guys in different spots, or is it like, hey, we think this guy might just be a better fit here?
Yeah, the way that we've taught it defensively is meeting together, and they understand, not only the assignment in our quarters coverage or man free. If you're the boundary corner, if you're the field safety, you better know, because I think it's important that you understand where you have help, where you don't, when you play. And no better way than right now during spring is to cross-train guys and really find out. I think Malik Chavis can play every spot we have on the back end. I really do. He's that skilled athletically. I think we're trying to find his best spot, and it may be corner. But also I know if we had an injury or something at one of the safety spots, Malik could step in today because he's played it before, and he could go step in and hopefully not miss a beat. Same thing with Slusher. I think he can play either the corner spots, any of the safety spots, and the nickel position. That's hard to do. There's not many guys that can do that, in my opinion, at the level that he's doing it. So a lot of that goes into staff time, talking about how do we get the best 11 on the field. And then you find, well, what's the best backup in that spot? It's always roster management and getting your best pieces in the right spots. And, Kyrie, he struggled the first 2 days that he was at safety just because it was so new. He had been at corner and normally just one side of the field. And we moved him to one of the middle safety spots, and he's looking, he's like, my goodness, there's so much space out here. But today he had his best day. So I'm excited about him being able to do that. Him also being able to maybe next week go in and get some snaps again at corner. I think this makes us better, a lot more versatile if we have the ability to move some guys around.
And a couple of new guys, just your thoughts so far on Latavius Brini and Dwight McLeather and how they've been so far.
Really excited that we have both of them. They've both got real game experience in the arena of playing SEC ball. They're talented. They've got a high football IQ. They're going to make our team better. They're going to make our defense better. And credit to our team on welcoming them with open arms. They feel like now, since they've been here in January until today, I feel like, it doesn't feel like they're the new guy anymore. And that takes both sides. It takes a very unselfish person that was at, 2 different places that played at a high level, and then they come in and, we didn't just roll them out there and start them with the ones. They've got to go earn it, and they've done a great job understanding the scheme, but also being a great teammate.
It feels like on each of the units you're getting pressure, and I'm wondering, what has led to the ability to get the pressure, and how often are you blitzing?
Well, I think, I don't know. I'll have to look after today's practice. Some of it's scripted, and then some of it we just call it like it would be a game. So there's some things that I'm calling pressure-wise that I probably never would in a game, but I want to get it on tape and against a look that I'm talking about, a specific look. So, but I'm trying to get it on film to be able to teach off of it, because after spring ball's over, we've still got time with our kids in the classroom. We can sit down and talk and teach, and they've got to understand. So we're calling a number of things now to get them on tape to be able to understand, and then it's also to find out who is our best blitzer, who is out of our 4-down look, who is maybe their best edge rusher. Can we get him singled up on a one-on-one block? So we've thrown a lot at them, and I think this is the first time, since I've been here, that we've been able to do that, because it's the returners that we have. They understand, what we have called previously, and now have the ability to build on that. It makes it pretty exciting. So we've done a number of different things pressure-wise, and we've got a whole nother package coming next week. So I'm excited about see where we can go with it.
Sam touted Isaiah Nichols and Torian Carter to us the other day, and it looks to me like Carter's flashing a lot. Who falls into that category for you that is consistently on tape doing those things? Yeah,
I think Deke Adams has done a really good job with that group. The times that he's had them now in the meeting room and then on the field, and how they've taken that information and then processed it and then got to a live situation and able to go execute it. I think some of that goes with Torian and Isaiah. They've got a number of reps with real game experience, which has helped them. Zach Williams keeps coming. Eric Gregory, doesn't show up as much in the stat sheet, but man, he's really solid and has been a good player for us inside. Cam Ball's coming on and doing a lot of really good things. Jasad Stewart, in my opinion, has probably had his best period of practices back-to-back consistency-wise. So I think he's getting an understanding on what we need out of him in that role. So collectively as a group, whether, whatever front we're in, whatever defense we're in, I think they've made strides maybe more than any other group, in my opinion, right now through 9 practices, at least on the defensive side.
Barry, you mentioned earlier just talking to the guys about being 6-second competitors. Is that a message that you've relayed to your guys throughout your careers at Arkansas specific? Yeah, and then how is this group kind of soaking that in?
Yeah, that's been developed for, everybody's going to be mad when I say this, because, the guy that I got it from is a guy I worked for forever, and Gary Pinkel. That was his bottom line on how he established the foundational aspects of the program from Toledo, and then when he was at Missouri, and it works. And you look at, if you take the game of football, and it's 4 quarters, but it's also, if you can get it down to playing 6 seconds at a time, and knowing what you're doing, and play with relentless energy and effort and those things. So I'm trying to get that message across to our team every single day. So every time that we have a unit meeting, that's as big and as bold as we can get it on the screen, just because I've seen it work. It worked for us last year on, the great thing about when you play hard and you play harder than your opponent, you do it for longer, you're going to put yourselves in position to play winning football. One of our goals is to eliminate explosive plays. And one way that you can do that, number one, you understand what you're doing. So we've got to be great teachers. They got to be great learners. But also, don't put your kids in position to do something that they can't do. I mean, it's pretty simple. Don't ask them to be a great blitzer if they're not a really good blitzer. And you got to teach them to get, and find out what they can do. But you also look, if you play hard, okay, and you play as hard as you can play for 6 seconds, okay, or till from the time the ball snapped to the whistle blows, you're going to give yourself and your defense a chance to play winning football. You can go, somebody may go miss a tackle, okay, but if you got 10 other guys running to the ball, then you're going to keep that from going to an explosive play. So it all ties together. It's just an easy way for our guys to remember it, and you can show it, and it shows up every day on film. And the great thing right now, just like it started last year, our team defensively is they're running that. So if you don't run hard to the ball, you got about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in the defensive room. You're on full display, and they're calling the guy out. So it's more player led now at this point. That speaks to the culture of what Coach Pittman has recruited to, the culture that we've got in our program, and it's pretty exciting to be a part of.
Last year, you really had 3 first-team linebackers at 2 positions. Are you kind of looking for that this year? And if you are, kind of who you see besides Vumfer and maybe Sanders?
Yeah, I think you look at that position in our conference. It's really, really hard, in my opinion, to go a 12-game regular season just with 2 linebackers. The physicality of the league, the way that the number of snaps that you play, all those different things into it. So, Coach Shear's done a nice job, and he's been in the system as a player, now as a coach. He understands it. So we've got to get, also, in my opinion, we need to get really 5 guys in those 2 spots that you feel like you can go play winning football with. And, Chris Paul's done a great job. Bumper returning with all the experience he has. Drew Sanders, Woodard has done a nice job. Jordan Crook, Caden Henley, both, freshmen, they're coming in. There's a lot of competition going on. And, once we get a guy, I don't really defensively, I don't look at what year is he. Is he a senior? Is he a freshman? He's our guy. Let's get him coached up and ready to go play winning ball. So, Crook and Henley have only been here for a couple of months. And we're yelling and screaming at them. They ought to be going to biology class in high school. But I'm glad they're here because they've shown so far at 9 practice they've got an opportunity to get in position to help us this year in some role, in some capacity.
Coach, I was curious about Deke Adams and Dominic Bowman. You obviously had a lot of input in the hiring process with those guys, being the guy for defense. What was it about both of them that led you guys to say, hey, this is our guy? 'Cause Coach Bowman's, relatively young, and, was it Marshall? Deke Adams has been around the block a little bit more.
When speaking about Dominic first, when I was an assistant coach at University of Memphis, Dominic was a high school coach. I think he was at Cordova High School. And we had a camp, and a bunch of the high school coaches came and worked, and Dominic walked in and ran. We worked together. I was the secondary coach. And we worked together on putting drills together and then going on the field and coaching. And Dominic blew it out of the water. He just was unbelievable, off the charts on the way that he taught. And I'd kind of followed his career. That was in 2000, I don't know, probably that was 2012 or 13. And I followed his career from there. Was so impressed with him, and always, with social media now and the way that the coaching circles are, you can follow a guy pretty closely, and maybe they don't even know it. But I always, his teams played at a high level in the positions he coached. And I heard him speak at a number of different clinics over the year. Had kind of reached out, a few years ago, just continuing to try to maintain a relationship. So once I knew we had an opening at that spot, that there's a number of guys that are qualified that wanted to be here. My focus went pretty quickly to him to see if we had an opportunity. And then with Deke, knew about Deke because name recognition, number one, of what he had done in our conference up until he was out of it last year. But I knew about Deke this from afar a little bit more than had never really been around him. But he was at Ole Miss, was at Mississippi State. He'd been at South Carolina. I think he and Coach Pittman knew of each other a little bit more than I knew Deke. But we've got a guy in our program in a personnel department, Brian Overton, that had worked with Deke recently, and he this mentioned to him, and he didn't push him at all. He goes, hey, why don't you check this guy out? And made a lot of calls, spent a lot of hours on the phone with a number of different people, and thought Deke was the right guy at the right time for our program. And man, what a joy both of those guys have been to be around.
I was curious your thoughts also on a guy that's not playing right now, Landon Jackson.
Yeah.
Obviously he's tremendously put together big dude. What kind of role do you think that he could possibly have, and what did you guys like about him when you recruited him out of the portal?
Yeah, we knew about Landon when he was in high school, and I recruited him, tried to get him hard. And so I've known he and his family for now a couple years because of the relationship that goes back to when he was in high school. Comes from a great program in Texarkana and Pleasant Grove, and I think they at least won one championship, maybe two. When he was a player there, he was coached really well in that program. But also he's got a unique skill talent. I mean, he may be 6'7". I mean, I don't know what we list him at. He's 6'6" and some change for sure. 275. Got a great explosion on what I know about him. Anxious to get him back on the field, but also know that we're not trying to rush it, and understand that he's going to, number one, be able to provide depth, and I think he's got the ability to be an edge rusher for us, in which we need. And we've got guys in Eric Thomas that's done a nice job, and Zach Williams and Jashad Stewart. We've got to get another guy in there just from the rotation standpoint, and hopefully that Landon can step in and do that for us.
Sam has been very enthusiastic about the stability at coordinators, and I'm wondering, you've had options. What's kept you here for a third year, and what's going on here? Yeah,
there's going to be. I mean, if your players play really well, you're going to have opportunities every year. That's not going to change. My thought process on having an opportunity to come back with this group another year was, above everything, the most important thing. Number one, the culture that Sam Pittman has every day in our working environment, you can't beat it. I've not worked that many places, but you can't tell me it's better somewhere else. I think we've got a great administrative support. The fan base is the best I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. I believe with the team that we have, the way we've been able to recruit, my family is really happy here. I'm excited and happy to be here. I think we can achieve great success here. So all those things combined, if there's an opportunity for me to be I had opportunities as in a couple of things this offseason to be a head coach again. I'm not going to go take a head coaching position again just to say I did it. I don't need that. My ego doesn't need it. I don't need it. I'm having as fun as I've ever had coaching, being here. And I don't know if fun has anything to do with it, but I enjoy getting up and going to work every day. The student athletes that I've got a chance to coach right now, they're bought in. They like to play ball. They like to practice. They like to compete. They're doing a great job academically. It's a fun group to be around. Someday, some year, if a head coaching opportunity presents itself, then I may go make a run at it. But it's got to be the right fit with the right alignment. And I feel like Arkansas is a special place. I feel like it is, for me and my family and what we have going on defensively and program-wise, it's the best job in the country for me right now.
It appears as if you're not tackling to the ground as much, maybe with the ones. Is that specific to this team, or what's happening there?
There wasn't supposed to be any tackling to the ground today, so I'm going to go in and get yelled at from the head coach on we're supposed to all stay up today. So the ones are a little better at that today than the twos and threes, so that's my fault on that. We're trying to do a lot of to-the-ground tackling in our individual drills. I think there's ways that you teach tackling that you don't have to go completely to the ground. So we're smart with that. I think you've got to get an understanding on what that looks like, and you better be comfortable with it, because here in 2 more weeks, there's no tackling until we get back in August for fall camp. So, am I ever thinking, well, we can't become a better tackling team? No, I don't think that. We've got to continue to play fast. We've got to play together. We've got to run to the ball. And, the thing Coach Shear brought up last year, he said, let's phrase it, let's have a race to the ball. And that was kind of started in the linebacker room, and then it spread to our defense. Well, I don't really talk all the time about, don't miss the tackle. I want to give them positive reinforcement. Go take your shot with the correct leverage angle. And you got 10 other guys better be running to the ball. So tackling is at a premium for us on how we're going to do it. The fundamentals of it, the willingness of it from a player, but also, slowing down the film and showing them, throughout practice, okay, this probably, even though it's a thud situation, this probably would have been a missed tackle. Well, why was it a missed tackle? Because you didn't take the extra step, you didn't get your eyes in front. What was the reason for it? And then you try to correct it the next day.
Last one, Scotty.
Yeah, Barry, just wanted your thoughts on a couple of the guys on the defensive front. Cam Ball, just what you've seen from him, and then Isaiah. I think he's been running with the that first group too, and Sam spoke highly of him the other day.
Yeah, both of those guys. Cam, young kid. Isaiah, a lot of reps. I think both of them have upped their game in the last, since we started, from comparing where they left off last season to where they are today. And just like every team in the or every player in the program should, you better be better today than you were, after we beat Penn State. That's just the way that it goes. So Cam Ball didn't play that much last year. I don't know if he labeled as redshirt or not, but so he's got a number of years left. But with Jamil Walker, excuse me, and his staff in the weight room, he has transformed our guys. He's transformed them into bigger, stronger, faster, quicker, meaner, tougher. Anything that you can look at it, Jamil's staff has done an unbelievable job. And Cam has been a guy that has fit into there, and he went to work, and he kept his head down, and he's learned, and he's been able to go play fast. Isaiah, with the same thing, he's running with the ones, the twos, the threes. We're rotating so many guys in there. But Isaiah right now has probably had the most productive, he and Torian Carter, of any interior defensive lineman so far this spring. He's playing with great on-snap footwork, great eye discipline, great hand placement, and he's playing at a high level. So we got to continue to work at that, because if you're not good inside up front, then you don't have a chance. I don't care how good you are on the back end, okay, or at linebacker, whatever. That's why Ridgeway was so important last year, because he's just a beast inside, okay, and he took up a lot of times two guys and filled up space. Those guys inside with Torian and Cam and Isaiah, it's so important that we get some things solidified there with those three guys that we feel comfortable on how we're playing everywhere else. So they've done a nice job, and they got to keep coming, keep pressing.
Thanks, Coach.